Hello everyone, myself Sanat Kumar Swai, Assistant Professor at Vedang Technology Bhubaneswar. Hope you're all doing well. Um, in today's class, we'll be discussing about the contingency leadership approach. Okay. In the previous classes, we have discussed about various leadership approaches and the concept of leadership. Uh, Various kinds of leadership styles have been also discussed. So today we'll be discussing about the contingency leadership approach. Okay, what exactly is the contingency leadership approach and how it has been used in the organizational behavior particularly. Okay, so we'll be going through a few slides. Okay, right. So before going deep into the um, into contingency theory, we'll understand what particularly uh, the introduction and what exactly is the idea behind these kinds of theory. Okay, so is a contingency. What do you mean by contingency? See, okay, forget about contingency. Okay, first of all, we'll see that when we are talking about a leadership, okay, do you think that a leadership, a single leadership that is going to, I mean, adapt to any kind of situation or any kind of organization? No, because there are certain situational demands. Okay, situation. There are certain situational demands. So whatever leadership it may be, okay. So whether that leadership is a effective one or that leadership is an ineffective one, we cannot say, as we have to understand what according to the situation, whatever the situation demands, right? So what exactly is the core idea is that there's no one size fits all leadership. And we cannot say that a particular leadership is going to fit for all the organization or for all the situation. No, we cannot say that. So there has to be certain leadership styles. There has to be certain leadership qualities. Okay, and that is why it is important for us to understand in the organizational behavior. Now, the importance, like adaptability to situational factor, is essential for organizational success. So we have to be adaptable, and adaptability is very much essential, very much important for any kind of organizational success. Whichever organization, maybe small, maybe large, maybe any institution, maybe a company, but it is more important, is extremely important, right? Okay, so these are the few leadership theories. Okay, what are the theories? Like Friedler contingency theory, okay, Huxley and Blanchard situational leadership model, okay, path goal theory, and Rome Breton Jago decision making model. Okay, so these are the contingency leadership theories which we are going to understand in the other slides. Okay, so Fiedler contingency theory. So what do you mean by Fiedler contingency theory? So Fiedler contingency theory states that this leadership style is basically a task oriented versus relationship oriented. Task oriented versus relationship oriented. What do you mean by task versus relationship oriented? See, sometimes you have to match the situational favorableness. Whatever the situation demands, you have to match with the situation. So particularly in this Fiedler contingency theory, the leadership style, it should match with the situation. One is the task oriented and the other is the relationship oriented. So there's a difference, there's a conflict. Okay, so if you look at some example, you will see that in the manufacturing firms in India, you will see that these kinds of task oriented leaders, okay, so what happens that they have a strict adherence policy to adherence policy to execute the task when it is a manufacturing firm. But if that is a customer service, So what happens? It becomes a relationship oriented. You cannot say that in a customer service organization, you cannot say that it has to be a task oriented. Okay. Or in the manufacturing firm, you cannot say that should be relationship oriented. So it all depends on the situation. It all depends on the company, or on the organization. Are you understanding? Okay, so this is the leadership style, whether it's a task oriented or whether it's a relationship oriented. So there is always a conflict. Okay, so we cannot say like relationship oriented should be effective in the manufacturing firm, or task oriented when be in a customer service firm. In a customer service firm, a relationship model has to be followed. In a manufacturing firm, a task oriented model has to be followed. Okay, so this is all about the Fielder contingency theory model. Okay, next, Hersey and Blanchard's situational leadership model. See, again, situational. Okay, so what does it mean? Situation means based on the situation. Whichever leadership which we are reading, which we are discussing right now, is about the situation. What kind of situations is being given? So as per the Hersey and Blanchard situation leadership model, so what happens is that the leaders, they adjust their style based on the maturity of the followers. Followers means the staff or the employees. Okay, so what is the what kind of employees which we are going to uh, lead? So as per the maturity of the followers, they may be like telling, selling, participating, and delegating. Telling, selling, participating, and delegating. Okay, so if you take an example, okay, let's say startup. Okay, an Indian tech startup. Tech means IT startup. Okay, so what they do, that they use this selling style. They use the selling style. Okay, where training new recruits and move to a delegating style as they gain. So what happens, that delegate means they become experienced and they become confident that they can delegate themselves. But initially there is a telling style, or there may be a selling style. Telling, selling, participating, delegating. Situations leadership model. So this is all about the Hersey and Blanchard situational leadership model. Okay. Next, path goal theory. Now what do you mean by path goal theory? In this theory, the leaders, okay, so what they do, that they choose the best motivate employees. They choose a style, okay, leadership style that best motivates the employee. What motivation has to be given to the employee so they can work more efficiently, they can work more effectively to achieve the organizational goal. So as per the path goal theory, there is like directive, supportive, participative, and achievement oriented. Right? This is the path goal theory. Now, if you're looking to some example, if you see, like in Indian call center, if you take an example of an Indian call center, what happens is that a supportive style has been taken into consideration. Because there is a lot of stress. Why there's a lot of stress? Because you're going to sell something. And where there's this selling comes into play, there is definitely a lot of stress. So to reduce those stress, what happens? This kind of supportive style is being followed in an call center. But if there is an organization which has a sales environment, more priority is being given on the sales. So what happens? There is a directive policy. A directive approach has been taken into consideration, directive style. Okay. Right. Because in a sales environment, there's a lot of high pressures. A lot of pressures have been there to enhance the sales of that company, enhance the sales of the products. So there has to be certain directives. So there is a lot of stress and pressures are there in all the organization, but what kind of styles has to be adopted? It depends on that particular organization, particular service. Okay, so this is all about the path goal theory, right? Next, Vroom-Yeton-Jago decision making model. So what exactly is this Vroom-Yeton-Jago decision making model? So as per this decision making model, what happens is that the leaderships or the leaders working in an organization, they have to understand the employees working in that organization. They have to understand what is the level of that employee's understanding. Okay, and what should be the employee's involvement in various kinds of decision making process. For example, it can be from autocratic to group based decision. Autocratic means a single man, a one man army. A single man is taking all the decision. And a group based decision means everybody has something to say. And based on the something to say, a group decision has the decision has been taken into consideration. Okay. So if we take an example, like in a family-owned Indian business, let's say there's a company or there's a business which is a family-owned, okay, in India. So what happens? The decision, various kinds of innovation, okay, innovative decisions. Sometimes that, not sometimes, most of the times it is autocratic. Means all the decisions are being taken by a single person rather than a group. Okay, so what happens is that as because the decision is being taken autocratically, the decisions impacting daily operation may involve. No, where were we? Okay, so in the family-oriented, family-owned Indian business, what happens that it is the decisions are being taken autocratically. But well, in case of the innovations, if there is an innovation, means something major is going to major changes are being taken into consideration. But let's say there's an organization where there's a daily operation. I mean daily operation. Okay, means every now and then we need to take certain decisions. That may involve group input. We cannot say that that can be autocratic, because that is definitely going to hamper the organizational growth if we take the decisions autocratically where there is a daily operation involved. So in case of daily operation, we have to involve the group inputs in the decision making process, right? So this is all about the Vroom-Yeton-Jago decision making model. Right. Now, if you look at some case study, okay, Indian case study, we are not going to go outside. Okay, we are going to look at the Indian case studies. Okay, so for example, Tata Group. Okay, now everybody knows about Tata Group. So they also have a contingency approach. They have a variety of sectors where they are involved. Manufacturing to IT to consulting to whatnot, mechanical. Okay, a lot of things there. It's a varied area of sectors. Okay, so in their leadership approach, it varies from directive. Okay, directive means manufacturing, to participative. Participative means in TCS and consulting. You see, they're using both the contingency approach, directive also and participative as well. In their various units, not in a single unit, but in various other units. So what is the outcome? What exactly they are going to, what they are gaining out of it? So what happens is that this adapting leadership style has helped Tata maintain employee satisfaction and productivity. You see, you ask any Tata employee, you will see there's a satisfaction. There's a satisfaction in their work-life balance. Okay, so that uh, that has helped the Tata to maintain this employee satisfaction. And when an employee is satisfied, then definitely that is going to enhance the productivity of any organization. Right. Right. Next. Okay. Infosys. Okay. The second case study is about Infosys. So all of you know about Infosys. Okay. So what Infosys does? It also follows a flexible leadership style. Okay. So as per why? Because you see, in case of Infosys, they have different project demands. They have a lot of projects, and as per the demands of the projects, they are flexible in adopting the various kinds of leadership styles. Okay. So for example, Hersey blanket model. They use this model because sometimes you see that when there is a onboard of the new employees, so what they do is that there's a selling approach. They use the selling approach. Okay, but when the experienced team function, they function on a delegating basis. And what is the outcome of that? Outcome is enhanced innovation and efficiency. So they maintain innovative atmosphere, they maintain the efficient productivity of the employees. Right. Right. Now, what is the strength of contingency approach in India? What exactly is the strength? See, definitely there will be some strength and some weaknesses will always be there. Okay, so what exactly is the strength of this contingency approach in India? The first one is flexibility in leadership. If there is a flexibility in leadership, so what happens is that it whatever organizational structure it is, because you see in our country, you will see that India is a diverse country. So to match with those diversity, the structure has to be flexible, and particularly in the leadership style. So that is the one of the strength. Okay. Next is it promotes adaptability. Adaptability. Adaptability means when you are working in a dynamic and when you're working in a multicultural environment, adaptability is of utmost importance. You cannot ignore adaptability. You have to be adaptable to stay in the market sector. Right. Right. Next, improves employee engagement. Okay. So contingency approach, it improves the employee engagement because the various leaders working in various organizations, they cater to the individual and the team need of their organizations in whatever situational changes it requires. There may be a situation, there may be environmental changes. So they sometimes cater to their individual needs as well as the team needs. Okay, so it improves the employee engagement. Okay. Now, limitations of contingency theory. Definitely when there is an advantage, then there must be certain limitations. Okay, so what are the limitations? Limitations means complexity. How is it complex? Because sometimes we have to understand, we have to monitor the various situations, various environment on a regular basis in the organization. So sometimes it becomes really complex. Sometimes it becomes really difficult. Right. Next is dependence on leaders' skills. Okay. Sometimes what happens that when we are applying this contingency approach, it all depends on the leader's skills. How the leader is going to act, assess, and how the leader is going to adapt to those various kinds of changes. So it all depends on the dependence on the leadership skills. So if you look at some example, you will see that these days, like a growing sector, e-commerce. E-commerce is one of the growing sector these days. Okay. So what happens? is that if we are unable to adapt to the growing changes, the demands with the market is demands of the market, then that may lead to turnover and reduce production, reduce turnover and reduce productivity. So these are the limitations of contingency approach in India, right? Okay, so with this we have come to the end of the slide. Okay, so concluding, all of you understood what exactly is a contingency leadership is all about? Yes. Okay, so if we conclude, okay, so contingency leadership, so while summarizing, we'll see that it allows the Indian organization to tailor leadership approaches, aligning with the needs of the situation, aligning with the needs of the culture of that particular organization. Because every organization works in a different approach. Every organization works in a different situational need. Every organization works with a different cultural background. Right. So for this effective contingency leadership, it fosters a responsive, a resilient, and motivated workforce. Okay. A motivated workforce is required. A responsive workforce is required. The workforce should be resilient, which is important for the India's evolving economic landscape, because India's economic landscape is evolving continuously. So to align, to fix with this economic landscape, we have to be responsive, we have to be resilient, we have to be motivated. Okay, right. Thank you very much. With the end of this conclusion, the contingency leadership comes to an end. So thank you very much for your time. Hope you all understand what exactly is the contingency leadership. And if you have still any doubt, you can just jot down your doubts, and I will be more than happy to clear off your doubts. Okay. Thank you very much for your time. Thanks.